There we go.
Okay.
Hi. How do we know when somebody comes?
I'm not
I do
sure.
not know.
Interesting. Okay.
So we're here
I
to
think
talk about why
maybe-
sleep is important,
I think they'll pop up right here. I think.
right?
Hopefully.
No?
It's just.
When they talk,
No.
perhaps.
I think. I don't know.
Like, hey guys. You know, you guys want to know a fact? Hawaii is the only US state to never report a temperature of 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
Really.
Uh-oh.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So what's going on here?
So essentially our study went over basically just looking at law enforcement officers and how the relationship between insomnia, PTSD, and depression impacted them and kind of played a role between all three of those themselves.
And how resilience can come in and be a mitigating factor for insomnia.
Yes.
Huh, okay, that's really interesting. Okay, go on.
She's really pretty.
Thanks.
So yeah.
So sorry, what did you ask?
I was just saying, like, to go on, like, explain everything, like your background and the methods that you used.
Oh yeah, so pretty much it was what, questionnaires and surveys
Yes.
that had gone out amongst, I believe the population was only consisted of law enforcement officers, so it wasn't
In
any
the Houston
veterans.
area.
Yeah, in the
Mhm.
Houston area, so it wasn't any veterans or anything like that per se. And it was questionnaires. Let me see, basically it was, majority of it was white. It was about 50% almost of white, with 22% being Hispanic, 21% being Black, and 6.1% being other. Most of them were married as well. It was over 50%. It was around 64 that were married. The rest were either single or divorced or living with a partner of their choosing. And then as far as the backgrounds, again, it was just to pretty much try and find relationships between the three, try and understand how much resilience actually affected the depression and PTSD aspects, with some focus on insomnia. So insomnia was kind of like the determining variable for everything else.
So what do you mean by resilience? Like, kind of how willing they are to kind of just push through the day?
Yes.
Or is that, yeah?
Pretty much resilience is a person's ability to cope with traumatic experiences and persevere / grow out of them. So in my part of the study, as resilience is a buffer for insomnia, I was tasked to find how resilience can help mitigate the, what was the word? Well, the damage that insomnia can cause, especially in law enforcement personnel. And the best way that I could explain it is that I found out it's most of a domino effect. So the higher resilience you have, the less impact trauma will have on the person. So with the deteriorated impact means they won't stress out as much due to the trauma that law enforcement face daily, like with work stress, seeing a lot of like accidents and seeing, unfortunately, a lot of investigations end poorly with like death and such. Plus
Mhm.
poor work management, maybe because of extensive hours, bad upper management and stuff. So the more resilient you are against all of that, the higher chances of having better sleep quality is.
Uh-huh. So it wouldn't necessarily just be classified as, I think, I don't know what the phrase for it is, but kind of like how when you put something in a drawer for another day and you try to ignore it for as long as possible. So that would not count as resilience, right?
No, with the studies that I found, resilience is just their ability to persevere. So they're
Uh-huh.
obviously not like putting it away and thinking, oh, if I just ignore it, the problem will go away. It's them
Mhm.
persevering through those issues and being able to manage the stress that comes with having to deal with these traumatic experiences and stuff. Because as I said earlier, everything is a domino effect. So if you have poor resilience, meaning that you have a hard time coping with stress, with traumatic situations, that starts to affect your interpersonal relationships you have with people. In this case, law enforcement professionals saw a lot of problems starting with their families. Then all those problems, it's just snowballs from there.
Mhm.
And they can't work with their coworkers very well because let's say that one of them passed away on the job, because that's something that was referenced a lot in the studies that I found. And then obviously that starts affecting your sleep. Then you start developing symptoms of depression or anxiety. Some officers develop PTSD as well. So that's why we found that resilience would be a good buffer for insomnia symptoms.
I see. So can you explain the graph that we see on the right?
Yeah, are you talking about the one with the low resilience, that one?
Oh yeah, like that one, like all three lines.
Yeah, so essentially, the dotted one would, like the smallest one is just gonna be the high resilience. The one in the very middle is gonna be the medium, and the one at the very tippy top is gonna be the low. So it was pretty much just from depression and starting at a 0.72 level, and then going up there. The higher the resilience, basically, the lower the depression itself. So like for the high resilience one, the very dotted one, because they had the highest resilience, the line itself for the actual depression was a lot lower because their depressive symptoms were not as either severe or became less severe because of the
Mhm.
resilience that they had.
And then what does ISI stand for?
ISI.
The insomnia severity index, one of the measures we used with the officers enrolled in the study.
All right, cool. Yeah, this looks overall very interesting. I saw like the insomnia and I was like, I'm a person who loves sleeping. Like I take my sleep very seriously. So I was like, I want to see what's up, I want to see what this is all about.
No, it's cool.
Essentially, sleep is the medicine for having a good sleep.
Yeah.
That's what we took.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very true. All right, that's really cool. Thank you guys.
Thank you, appreciate
You're
it.
so wonderful.
I have a
Alright.
question.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know if you guys found any outliers, like people who say they have high resilience, but then whenever they were going through the depression scale, if you saw that they were actually a lot lower than they say they would be.
From the results that we were given and that we gathered, we didn't see any of that. For the most part, everyone that's I forget what it was, but in some of the surveys that they had, they were able to mediate some of that. So there wasn't as many outlying aspects with it. So again, for the most part, from what we had saw and what we've recorded, it was very much so. If they had high resilience, that's what it was to begin with. So.
And another thing, could you have probably, or like, I don't know how to say this, but did you also like see if some of the people that you were working with are also going through some kind of like therapy or anything like that? Or is this research just predominantly so that you could find and encourage that kind of like, treatment for these officers
Yeah.
and all?
It would be more along the lines of the latter, just because we did find that basically one of the biggest reasons for this whole project was to kind of create more awareness and get more information, just specifically because it would help to increase the amount of training programs that they have, that could be aimed at sleep disturbances, among police officers. And right now it's very minimal in the coverage and even programs that they have across the board. So,
Mostly due to the stigma within law enforcement profession. A lot of the officers, at least from the study I found on pluralistic ignorance amongst law enforcement personnel, a lot of officers don't want to seek help. They know they have a problem or multiple problems going on in their lives, but the stigma against seeking medical help and being seen as weak, especially within a community where you have to be seen as strong and stuff, that's why we did our project too. So, just open the doors like, hey, just because you're out seeking medical attention, medical or therapy or anything, that doesn't mean that you're any less worthy of taking on such a stressful but such important job such as being law enforcement.
Yeah, this is definitely like some really good research you guys have going on here. I really like the idea of trying to find better outputs or resources for these officers, because like their work is really stressful and like they're out there putting their lives for us, but some of us don't really recognize that. But they go through a lot, and
No, we appreciate it, man. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
You guys have a
All
good
right,
one.
thank you guys so much. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. You guys too.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Are we muted?
No.
Where are you?
First room, the restroom?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you have to get them out? Are they on one side? Oh, really? I have both there on the top. I don't have any bottom ones. Really? They said mine should be, I probably won't have to get mine taken out as long as they don't keep going down. Are they just not aligned properly?
They're growing against my cheek. So every time I try to eat something, it runs
You
up.
bite.
Mhm.
Oh,
So much.
damn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm here to listen to your poster presentation. Can you give me a walkthrough of it?
Yeah. So basically, pretty much for the entire thing was we wanted to increase awareness for law enforcement officers, and increase awareness specifically in how insomnia, PTSD, and depression all kind of come together and affect them both on a mental and emotional level. There isn't right now a lot of research out or even programs to help with that. So pretty much the entire study was aimed at increasing awareness as well as just general information about, how they get affected and things of that nature.
For the results, can you like explain that to me?
Yeah. So pretty much for the results section, it was a two-step hierarchical linear regression analysis. Basically, what they did was they took everything, put it all together, and determined the moderators of the relationships between insomnia and depression after controlling for trauma. The resilience section with that, do you remember?
Resilient Karen.
That's definitely under there, but resilience have the interaction.
That one right there.
Yeah, they pretty much just found that the higher the resilience itself was, the either less depressive symptoms were displayed or they got better over time. And that it was a, sorry. So. But yeah, so basically, the resilience itself was a big determinant in just exactly how the depressive symptoms themselves kind of went about or interacted with everything else. Yeah, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry.
It's okay. If you don't mind answering, what motivated you to do this project?
Specifically, just because as basically the lack of awareness and with how important that their job is, you know, in society, given that these individuals struggle with this themselves, on top of the fact that their job does involve them interacting with the community and us as a whole, just being able to, you know, create new programs or find out whatever information we could that would be beneficial would not only be able to help increase awareness for them as individuals for their emotional and mental states, but also be able to better their interactions with the public and make those timeframes and everything more smooth and everything like that. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing your poster with me and everything. It's so fun to take a look at people's results and stuff.
Yeah, no, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. You have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Hello. Oh. Yeah, to admit them.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Admit and admit.
How do we get this off? Because I guess
We lost the background.
You lost the background?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'd have to end the meeting and.
That's okay.
I got this right here. We still have it.
Okay.
I lost the background.
Oh, it's fine. Press the Zoom. What happened?
What?
Having some technical difficulties.
Yeah. Nope.
What happened? Are we out? No.
No. There it is.
Oh.
Oh,
There.
sorry, having some technical difficulties.
There's us. We cannot do that. I don't know either. We have to end it before we can minimize it, but I don't know how we're gonna do it.
Sorry, guys. What's the background?
Don't they have background?
No, they don't. And I just, there we go. Oh, sorry.
No, you didn't. Just put this right here.
share screen is now.
It's not popping.
That one?
Could, yeah. Could be that one.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay, there we go.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Are we still muted?
No,
I
we
don't
don't.
think
No.
so.
Yeah. There we go.
Did you look at insomnia in males and females and kind of make a comparison?
Unfortunately, no, because a majority of the participants were mostly male, so it was extremely skewed.
Oh. I was just clicking it. What about the age group? How was the selection process like for the age group?
For the age group itself, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not quite sure how that was done. I know that there were surveys and everything like that given out. And I do believe that it was among males, mostly males that were of the later age, just because the mean average itself was about 44.2 years old. So it was a population that did consist of slightly older averaged men compared to like younger or something like that.
Many who have already been working as a police
Yes,
officer for
yeah.
many years.
Yeah. You could have the chat pop up to where it wouldn't. be the way. Or alert you, so that way it would just pop up.
It probably can. I just don't have it set up like that.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I also don't know how to work the whole Zoom stuff, so.
Pardon? I thought I heard someone speak.
Sorry, did someone say something? So basically, the conclusion from the data pretty much was that insomnia was kind of like a determining variable in some cases for the other things, and that a higher resilience overall dictated basically the officers themselves being able to kind of mediate the stress and stuff associated with like the depression or again with any the other two disorders. Basically just, and again, pretty much the whole aim for this was just to do that, was to increase the awareness for it. Currently, we don't really have any programs in place or really anything out there, honestly. The information covering pretty much all of this is next to none. So this entire study pretty much was just trying to increase the awareness, increase the knowledge, and show that you know, resilience itself is a very big aspect in being able to combat depression, PTSD, and how important insomnia itself was as a role in playing with the other disorders themselves.
Brenda asked.
Were the participants in this study diagnosed by a professional, or did they just answer a survey? Yes, they just did answer.
They just
the
answered
questionnaires.
the questionnaires and surveys
Yeah.
that were provided.
A lot of
Yeah.
the questionnaires had generalized questions saying like, one of them really was simply, how often do you feel sad during the week? Like that simple, really. It was kind of funny, but we found that out.
Yeah, so for the most part, all of it was kind of just a general like survey or questionnaire and everything like that.
A lot of
So
self-report.
yeah.
Samples of the survey.
Huh?
Yeah,
Samples of the
yeah,
survey.
that would be cool and interesting. Yeah, if we
Yeah.
could see that. I would like to see, especially given the fact that there really isn't any information over any of this, that the surveys themselves would be interesting to actually read over.
I have mine in my laptop. I think I used one of them for my own research.
Wish that you could expand this whole thing. So nervous to like click anything because I think it's just gonna mess the whole thing up. And then again, just in case anyone wasn't in here earlier, I'm not sure if you guys can hear us right now, but basically the entire survey itself and the pretty much the whole thing was set up just to try and get more awareness for officers themselves. We looked at the relationship between insomnia, PTSD, and depression. Pretty much what the goal is to, again, not only just increase awareness, but essentially just because a lot of these officers do interact with the general public, and that is their day-to-day basis for jobs or anything to do with their job. Not only would more programs and everything in there be able to really help them out just as individuals with their emotional and mental states, but it would also really help increase more positive interactions between them and the public, just because they would have, less problems, whether it be related to sleep or other traumatic issues that they go through within their work environment. So there isn't much information over this, even among other populations of emergency responders or veterans. There isn't, it's a surprising lack of amount of information. So this again was really to try and get more people involved and more of a push for people to get more background info on all of it. I wonder if that time was the thing, like what you have to pay. Is that what it is?
How were you guys able to avoid any bias or issues that came in the study? Unfortunately, with a lot of self-report surveys, there isn't like a way to avoid them, quote unquote, lying on the surveys to make themselves look good. That was something we were pretty conscious with. That it was a problem we brought up with the professor as well. Like, hey, all these questionnaires are all very self-reporty. Should be worried about that, but we have to do.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Can you go over about what are the key factors linking depression and lack of sleep?
Oh, and how insomnia and depression are linked together?
Mhm.
Oh. There's a lot to go on there. I did explain to one participant before that the way insomnia is linked to depression is through a series of what I call a domino effect. For example, when studying how resilience worked as a buffer to mitigate the symptoms of insomnia, I learned that with horrible quality of sleep comes extensive damage to a lot of processes that are crucial to the work for law enforcement professionals, like let's say cognitive processes and what was the other one? I'm sorry, I'm blanking out right now. Cognitive processes have been affected, especially, and they're not able to basically have a lot of emotional regulation or anything because of lack of sleep. We all had that time where we had horrible sleep and we're pretty cranky the next day. So if that is something that is very continuous over a period of time, that's where the links to depression come in, because I've lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that was good. Oh.
My other question is, it's like depression always affected by insomnia, or it's the other way around?
It can be a mix, but from I kind of covered the insomnia aspect for this, and from my own research as well as the research within this, It was intended to be that if insomnia was not necessarily treated properly, or I don't want to say first, but you know, if it wasn't looked at with as much attention as it needed to, the depression itself or even the PTSD could be remedied, but the effects would either would be not as long lasting, or the effects themselves would not be as effective without a proper focus on insomnia itself. Insomnia was kind of almost like a determining variable in some ways for the actual levels of effects for like PTSD or the depression.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Pretty much, I think we'll have like 10 minutes. Well, it'll cut off. 'Cause it's right here.
So,
That'll be fun. Because it's, like I said, I think it'll just be like 10 minutes that we won't have. Oh, yeah, no, that's, yeah, yeah, no. How much, it was like, what, like 15 or something like that, $20?
yeah, I think it's around $20.
$20.
Yeah, to be, yeah, $20 to be able to, I think, increase it or have like unlimited time or something like that. I don't really remember. Changed in the study to make it better. Anything we would have changed? Probably,
Would it involve more women
yes.
in the workforce?
Yeah.
It would have,
Have a more balanced group of participants,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
because having a majority of them be men.
a lot of
compared
them
to
are,
women.
a lot of the participants turned out to be men.
Yeah.
We would have liked to involve more women.
Which was very surprising
And-
following the stigma papers
Yeah.
that I found. A lot
More-
of men don't want to seek out
Mm-mm.
any help or show any
Yeah.
kind of quote unquote vulnerability. by
And the
incidents
age
like
range,
this.
we would have liked it to be more, you know,
Young
from starting out until when you're like
seniority.
seniority. Yeah, we would have liked that too.
Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
But it's so nice.
I just joined. Can y'all restart if you don't mind? Not at all. Take
Yeah,
it, Noah.
so pretty much the actual study itself, there really isn't much information regarding law enforcement and how insomnia, PTSD, and depression kind of affects them, both on a more personal level as well as kind of like their interactions with the public. So the entire study just kind of looked at the relationship between insomnia, depression, PTSD, how it affected officers, and essentially to just increase awareness for it, to try and get more people to get into actively researching this and trying to get more programs out to be able to help them not only heal in the sense for themselves as individuals, but also to make their interactions with the public, as their job does, require them to interact with the public often, make that a better and more positive experience overall for themselves as well as for everyone else, including us. So we have less than a minute left before I think it's going to cut it out. So.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry guys. I think it's about to cut out. It's wanting us to upgrade for some package. So.
Hello, Jessica.
Nah, no worries, Jessica. We'd keep it open longer if we could, but I think it's about to cut out in just a couple of seconds here. So. I don't know, I wish it would count down so we could see.
It's not going to count down. It's Zoom.
I know.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in.
That's just us. Or stop it or.